The process to update the Magic Jump catalog using the new data merge workflow. So in this version of the catalog, every product is its own unique PDF that's then imported into InDesign. So that allows us to have consistency across products. We use one template per layout design, and we're going to data merge it with the information in the Google Sheet. And as you can see here in our links panel, we have one imported PDF per product. In the folder structure, here is our master InDesign document. And what we'll do is we're going to export, or we're going to actually at least place all of the unique products into this linked products folder. And this really could be anywhere. This is just the particular folder structure of this setup. So here we have what's called an 8-grid row, size to or an 8-row product rather, size to 8 rows on the page. And then some of these are exported as cards, as you can notice in the catalog as well. Let's see if we can find one here. I think more down this way. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. We have certain versions of the product that are in cards. So this method's really flexible because it allows us to export any product in any type of configuration that we set up. So what we do is we go to the data merge folder, and you can already see that we have one version of the 18 card product, and then we actually have 3 variations on the 8-row product, and these are just kind of design variations that we've set up. But these might as well be just different layout choices within the same catalog. So a lot of flexibility in terms of updating hundreds of products into a new design template. So we're currently using the 8-row product version C across the board on these. So I'll go ahead and open up that InDesign template. And the way this set up is we design our document size to fit the output size that we're looking for. So I've already predetermined that in this document size. And we go ahead and design out the product as we normally would in InDesign. So the key here is to go into the data merge window and load a data source. So in this case, we are going to load an existing data source here, which I've exported as this CSV, and I'll show you where that CSV comes from in a second. But it has identified this the CSV as a table containing all of these headings. And I'll just go ahead and jump real quick into our Google Sheet. So we see that this one is called count. It should be called count. All right, sorting, page, product name, etc. So we've got all the headings across the top, and we have those same headings across, or that is detected inside this data source here. So now what we need to do is anytime you want to merge a piece of text, so let's say this is going to be a new field called product info, and we include that in the CSV. Of course, we don't have it in this source right now, but I'll go ahead and just do product name again. This initial text doesn't matter. I'm just showing you that we're going to link it to this particular box. So we'll select the area that we want to replace with the data source, and we'll just click product name. And now it has linked the product name from the CSV twice in this document, and it's telling us that by identifying it with these different locations. So now when I data merge, it's actually going to repeat product name in both of these text boxes. So it's just an issue of clicking a text box, going into text edit, and I can actually add as many unique source links as I want inside this text box. And when we data merge, it'll just display those as you see them here. But that allows us to take each text box and apply different styles to it, and it makes it super flexible. So that when we click preview, we can see now that it's merging all the information from the CSV into this kind of temporary display. I'll hit W so we can kind of see what's going on here. So what we're going to do now is show you how the CSV has been updated to include products that weren't in this last data source. You can see that Gabby's Dollhouse Combo isn't showing an image. So since then, a couple of these products have been updated. So for example, this one here, row number 5, which is actually record number 4. So the actual record is 1 less than the data source, because we have to account for row number 1 being the heading. So whenever we want to target a specific row, we'll just subtract 1. So if we want to see what's happening on row 5 in the data source that's loaded in InDesign, we're going to look for record 4. And sure enough, there's nothing here, right? So since then, somebody has input an image product name. So what the data source is going to do is it's going to go into the same folder as the data source, and it's going to look for this image and plug it in. So we're looking for Gabby's Dollhouse Easy Combo Wet or Dry. So let's go into our data source here, and here's our CSV. CSV has to be in the same root level as our images here. And let's see if Gabby's Dollhouse Easy Combo Wet or Dry has been placed into this source. So we'll come down to G. Let's see, Gabby's, there it is. Dollhouse C5 Combo Easy and C5 Combo Wet or Dry are both in there. So the exact name of the file needs to be input into the image. And by the way, just best practice to not use any special characters like parentheses or ampersands or brackets. Just keep it to text, dashes, and underscores. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this update here. So I'm going to File, Download, CSV. Okay, here we go. So there's our latest CSV, and I'm just going to replace it with the one that's currently in there. Yes, we want to replace it. So now when I update this data source, I can either reselect it or I can update it. And we go to preview. We can see that record 4 has now been updated with that image. So it was easy as that. We didn't touch any design work. We didn't do any kind of manual entry. This allows multiple team members to update the CSV or update the Google Sheet, and then a designer can just re-output that CSV and apply it to this particular template. All right, so how do we get all of these files out as unique file names? Well, InDesign has a native feature to either create a multiple record layout, which creates a whole InDesign document with one item per page. And we can also export it as a PDF. But the only problem is that InDesign exports it as just numbered pages, which doesn't help us. We need each PDF to be named something unique and optimally the name of the product, which is what we're doing now. So here's a script, a free script that's available from this gentleman. And so this script should travel with this project. And you want to put it in your user folder. The way to find that out is just to reveal the script in the Finder or wherever you are. And it showed up right here. All right, so we put that in the scripts panel, restart InDesign, and that should show up in the user folder. And all we do now is double click it. Okay, we'll save it. We'll browse a location where we want to put our products, and I'm just going to put it here at the root. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a new folder called results. We want a PDF, although we have the option to export it to a fresh InDesign document, but we're going to make one PDF per file. And then it's asking us which field from the CSV do we want the file name to be. And in this case, we want it to be the product name. So I'm just going to add that right there. All right, and for this 8-row product, we don't want to do all of them because only a certain amount of them are this 8-row grid. We can do unique records here as well. But I'm going to do from 1 all the way down to this row here, 383, because I know that starting with bounce houses, we're now in the 18 card design. So I'm just going to export the ones that I know are the 8-row product. So I want to do 1 to 382, right? So it's 1 less than the number than the row we're targeting. So 1 to 382. We'll click OK. Now it's going to tell us there are some that are duplicates. It's warning us of this, and that's okay in our case. And what it's identifying is it's saying that, by the way, you've told me to name it as product name, but some of these product name cells are actually the same name. Is that okay? And we're saying that's okay because we have a bunch of these called fill, right? And so these are blank spots in the catalog that we've said, don't leave anything there, but just fill it with a blank. So this script is just warning us that some of these records will be called fill, and that usually should be a warning for us, but in this case, we're totally fine with that. So hit OK and export. This will take a few minutes, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so the process is finished, and as expected, it's telling us that the merge contains duplicate records. That's okay, and we're done. So let's see what it did for us. First of all, put the warnings folder in here. This is super helpful, and it just gives us a text file that says, hey, check these in case you want that or not. And then it did put these duplicates in its own folder with their own unique file names in case we did want to save those for another time. But we don't need them. And there we go. We have now a merge that produced the result of an individual PDF for every single row in that data source. Now, what we can do here is that I usually like to just keep kind of one set of PDFs per design so that we can uniquely transfer individual products that we want attached to certain designs, right? So I already had a previous 18 card product folder here. This is not linked to anything. This is kind of just a 8 row product rather. This is just like my previous export. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. This is gonna be my new 8 row product C. Just a little housekeeping here. This is the latest result of this design. Now, let's say we had a catalog with multiple templates, right? So in this case, I would just be like, well, I only want this one, this one, this one, and that one. In this design, I can transfer those over. But I'm just gonna do a general dump of the entire thing because I don't know what else was updated in this whole section. So just to be safe, I'm gonna copy all of these, which I know are just the 8 row products. And then I'm going into the linked products. These are the ones that are actually in the InDesign document. Now it should tell me that it's gonna replace, up to 382, whatever we exported. Yes, I want to replace all of those. All right, so in InDesign now we would expect that all of those now need to be updated. And sure enough, that's correct. It's giving us a little warning. I'm here to the link, and I'm just going to say update all links. Now, once we update these, we should see that these Gabby's Dollhouse products should be updated now with not only the correct photo, but if anyone had changed any information, title, item numbers, and all that kind of stuff, well, that's immediately going to be reflected from the CSV. So if there are errors in the CSV, there will be errors in the product. But on the flip side, as long as the CSV is accurate, then the catalog will be accurate as well. Perfect. All done. And we didn't touch one piece of data, have to import anything manually. Everything stayed in its correct location according to the template, and it's just a lot cleaner and more consistent. A couple more notes on this whole process to note is that because our PDFs are being named the actual product name, if anyone changed the name of the product, that would have to just be remembered and re-implemented into the InDesign layout. So for example, if this changed to easy-combo wet or dry, then the new PDF is going to be called easy-combo, and this will no longer update. So if anyone does change a title, again, be aware of that, and we'll just re-import the fresh PDF, which is easy-combo wet or dry. So that's something to be aware of. A couple other things in the CSV, or let's actually go back to this whole data merge concept here. You'll notice that it is recognizing some rows of the CSV as text data, some as image data, and some as QR code data. So that's a key formatting choice to put into the Google Sheet so that the data merge in InDesign understands what kind of data this is. And the way you do that is by the way you name these. So if you notice that anything with an image has to say apostrophe @ image, and then you can put whatever you want right here on the back end. But this apostrophe @ image text at the beginning of this cell is now going to tell InDesign, by the way, don't put the text, new.ai, go look for the file that's new.ai. And that's why the new and wet dry Adobe Illustrator images are appearing here, because this document has told us that this is not a piece of data, this is a link to an image, right? So that's happening with the new image, with the wet dry image, as well as the image product. The same thing happens with the QR code. Again, Google Sheets doesn't know what this means. This is something that InDesign is understanding from the CSV. So anytime it sees a hashtag QR code URL, then that is going to turn this data into the URL pulled from whatever data is inside this row. So the way to do that, I'll take off preview, is we'll make a box like this. Okay, I hit W so we can see what we're doing here. And now I just click QR code URL, and it's going to turn that into the QR code from the data source. So if I click preview, you can see now that now I have 2 instances of this QR code. It's generating it on the fly using InDesign's object edit QR code or create QR code functionality. So that's super helpful. The QR code is not an additional image that has to be managed separately. So yet another advantage, as the Google Sheets column, right, updates a URL, then this QR code will automatically reflect that. This is another opportunity for a lot of consistency and accuracy in the catalog as a whole. All right, well, that is the overview of the data merge process. Again, you can create as many different types of layouts as you like. In the future, we can obviously adjust the styles, change the fonts on anything, do different versions of these layouts. The only manual thing that still needs to happen is the importing or the updating of these PDFs. And also if we decide like, oh, we want this to be a 6-row page, well, then that has to be manually designed. And I think there's some nice control and design control that we want to retain in that as well. It's not completely automated. And so we would create a new template, maybe that's taller, wider, narrower, whatever, that's going to fit into our design language. Then we can apply all or some of the products from the Google Sheets, output that PDF, and then just bring those into this document. Okay, lastly, I just wanted to review an easy way of placing our newly created PDFs into a fresh page of a catalog layout. Now, the obvious thing would be to just grab several of these, drop them in, and then the placement gun is going to kind of click and drop them where we put them. And if we have some kind of guide layer, we can come in here and try to place these manually. This is super tedious, time consuming if you're doing hundreds of them. And I also find that they don't always quite line up, or they're kind of on them or kind of not. So instead, I want to have some pre-existing text boxes that I can just drop these PDFs into. So I've already set up the master pages for these particular products with text boxes that are the exact size of the PDF, the placement PDF, and kind of ready to pop in. So I'm going to apply master page A, left and right down to these pages. And of course, any elements that are on the master page will show up on the page, but they're not selectable until you release them from the template. So by holding Shift and Command on Mac, or Shift Control on Windows, I guess, you can click these, and now once released, they're editable by that page or deletable or whatever. So I'm just going to release all of these here, the ones that I want to place, and I don't even have to have them selected. Now I can just grab these right from the Finder and super quickly just drag these right into any order I want, and it just makes it really easy. You can do this also with unreleased boxes, but I find that at least at this point, you actually have to click. It's kind of a double click into InDesign where you drag it, it's waiting, click in, it releases it for you. I just find that it's just easier to release them right off the bat, and I'm not even switching between apps, and I'm just kind of dragging these in. And now I have a document that's consistently placed, it's right on the grid, every page is the same. And yet again, just another opportunity for some clean, polished consistency across the board. All right, well, that is the overview for the data merge process for the Magic Jump 2024 catalog.